Develop critical thinking skills.
So let's talk about how these projects really develop students' critical thinking skills. When students present the project and have to defend their ideas, they have to use critical thinking skills. You might be asking a question such as, what were you thinking when you chose this project? Was it the right thing to do to maybe plant this food as opposed to plant another? Students have to really think and analyze their decisions and what they presented when they present these projects. And you might even ask questions like, how does this relate to Mesopotamia versus how does it relate to other cultures? There's a real deep critical thinking that happens when you present the projects. Recently, I watched a program where college professors across the country got together to discuss how they were going to stop artificial intelligence cheating, specifically ChatGPT cheating, that were happening in colleges today. You know what they said they were going to do? They were going to now not only have students write papers, but now they were going to require them to present their papers and defend their ideas. We already do that at Scores Raising Scores Academy. We've already trained them to do it. This all happens in our fourth course, Rhetoric. So let's go back to the beginning and let's discuss how we get our actual high school credits for this course. Well, first of all, world history. You get your world history as you walk through the arts. Not only do students really use critical thinking skills when they're presenting their projects, but they're able to hone those critical thinking skills in two other components in Scores Raising Scores Academy. We do Socratic dialogues where students flesh out material further through asking and answering questions and often multimedia formats. We also have Analyzing the Arts questions, where students, after watching Dr. Ott's 2 videos, are given further examples on day 3 of artistic sources such as music and videos or images of sculptures, paintings, etc., that really allow them to hone those critical thinking skills. We stress critical thinking skills at Scores Raising Scores Academy. Arts. For instance, let me give you an example. If you were studying ancient Greece, you might study Euripides or Socrates or Pericles and the different types of government or theater at the time. But let's say you actually study a piece of Greek architecture. When you're doing that, you might ask, where do they do business? Where do they worship? But then you might also ask the question, where did they go to the bathroom? Where did they cook their food? What type of food did they cook? Where did they keep their slaves? Suddenly, world history comes to life through the arts and the humanities. Secondly, you get another course, Art and Music History. Dr. Ott is going to really lead students in his videos on how to better interpret art, architecture, music, all of the humanities even better. And then we review it even more with me in my other portions of the courses. Third, you get that rhetoric credit. That's the one that we just discussed where students are presenting their papers. That's when they have to really defend their ideas. That's called rhetoric, and it goes back to ancient classical education, which we'll talk about in a minute. Lastly, and we'll talk about this even further, they're going to earn an English credit. Let's examine that further.